It's Monday, August 29th, 2022. I found a church called Zion Episcopalian Church in Douglaston. I went yesterday. Um, they reminded me of my youth and of the fact that in that institution they use the Nicene Creed. Um, They also defined for me yet again with rectory at the pulpit or the vestibule in the front of the church, speaking to the congregation, since it's different than the papacy is used to. Similar, but there are differences. I've studied not in great depths, but as a human, as a witness, they defined, however, this lordship. Um, then there's the astrological portion of it. There's the creation, this thought of God. For me, I created something from nothing. In doing so, I also created a calendar system that is my own between myself and my son. Before I arrived, I know that I talk of Brady since he's the one in like this higher up position of importance in the world, or at least the humans keep putting him in front for my recognition of he as such. Um, for some kind of like relative gravity or specified gravity to a situation that I'm currently going through at Creation Goddess and Lourdes, according to this Christian Nicene Creed and Gospel in 12th day after Pentecost. Again, Alexander's born Penta in the zoo of 2005, but again, that's Aleph bet or alphabet, but he comes with a whole lexicon. So, but I had an uncle who died on September 11th, but in a different, not in the Tower Fall, but in whatever, Clifford. He was one of the big guns, the 10 that I arrived to in X-Files. Um, he and I shared the same birthday. And he and I always shared on our birthday a birthday cake. Um, anyhow, so I lost him, and then eventually I had Alexander. Today I'm watching. So now the humans have defined for me their concept or what was constructed for them prior to their arrival as extras on the set of whatever. So Lourdes and Goddess, but yet for some reason I'm not in the cockpit with the pilots at the moment. I feel like I'm locked in some cargo bay and there's passengers on this flight and there's some flight crew, but I don't even know how they interact or how they function. I'm having in real things. I was looking. Went to a real doctor. I mean, she says she's a DO, and she's my now primary healthcare physician. And I'm speaking to her and updating her on all of the travels I had to other specialists and then back to her as like the main hub of communication. And I'm speaking to her and I'm like, all right, so now here's what and I'm telling her about what they call uric acid and the relative gravity and specificity of it, the fact that it's denser, it's not diffusing in the liquid, that means it must be a higher constant. And she's sitting here, she's like, I don't even know what that means. I'm like, you're the one with the doctorate in the education. I'm the one with the problem, expecting you to know these things. So anyhow, so I still don't have the answers on it. I'm searching for, I know there's a sodium potassium pump. I know there is a calcium sodium pump. I then was looking for the atomic structure, trying to see the relevance in why are my legs feeling like there is it a sodium imbalance. And then I heard about kidney problems with an excess of potassium. Then I realized the relation to calcium, and the only thing is the atomic weight really structurally, and then the positive charge to it, so it's ionic in its movement at the moment for this theory and how it actually relates. And then, because I've been putting my legs upright to get this dense liquid that has a ration of specific to relatable gravity that's really hard. I don't know if it's that the muscle tissue is not absorbing it and it's not, or it's not getting in because of whatever's going on in, I don't know if it's something I ingested. I don't know if the vector, if it's bacterial, if it's, I don't know what's throwing this off, but it's causing a real problem, and the getting rid of it is an incredible problem. And then I'm realizing that diaphoresis is not happening the way that it used to happen, but also my movement is limited, so I don't know if that's an overriding function of the ANS or CNS, because my body is just in some form of dissatisfaction or dysfunction, that it's not even chemically at a chemical level working properly. So I was watching the sodiums, and they just have this like umbrella term of sodium Na plus, and I'm like, all right, now that's a problem, because I see that interchangeably they use calcium and potassium as if it's the same, or it's treated the same ionically for whatever. And then I'm thinking to myself, how do I break down this more dense? And I don't even have a doctor that I could walk through the stage of I need serious help. And like the kiddos that went for medical degrees and are practicing on people don't even know the answers or how to even have this level of pharmacological conversation with me, and it seems kind of pertinent and necessary. So now I'm locked in this cargo bay. I was speaking to some of the flight crew. I know that I really need a pilot, but they seem to be locked in somewhere at fisticuffs and are not communicating with flight crew or with the passengers, and I'm just like in this cargo bay, like trying to, I mean, it's really frustrating. And then on comes, so like that's a national security concern, the fact that public health care, I can't even get to the pilots that need to know these public health scares. I can't even get communication directly to them without having to like really make a spectacle, or I'm trying to make a respectable whatever, but I mean, I don't have the clothes for this. I don't, for being on camera. I mean, this is as authentic as one gets, especially in medieval times. Like I'm in midlife crisis here. That's what it feels like. So, watching, they had this NFL special on. They cut into my morning news on Sunday. I think it was Sunday, maybe it was Saturday. So I only got a half an hour of news with the meteorologist, John, whatever. And then it went into, I like his little anecdotal whatever on the weekend. It's a nice change. But, and then they went into this NFL with the Jets. Now, the Jets are by color schematic green and white, and I'm like, how is this serving turkey in Thanksgiving? Or is this more of a Saudi Arabian inflection into my very real America in North America? I mean, they're the two whatevers that seem to have this green and white whatever going on in matching patterns of whatever's outside. And I'm listening to this special like announcement that they're making at this NFL draft, and I'm like, so they have this billiard table, and they're like, this year at NFL draft for the Jets, Jets, they had an 8 ball, which is represented by a black and white billiard ball. Just so the cocaine reps don't get all crazy. I heard that there's something on the street in like the adultery section of fornication with one's strict guidance to like something real message wise in pulling it off like whatever. So now there's an 8 ball billiard, black and white ball on a green felt table, which is how billiards are played. And Jets have some 8 ball in a corner pocket at their draft season. And then I'm looking, and the guy has a tattoo of, I don't know if it's 200 or if it's Zoo, ZOO. But I'm thinking straight, I'm like, all right, now is this a CHI? Because that looks like a 50-to-1 ratio with some kind of bridge in between. So I'm like, now that's the prelude to whatever happened with the dysfunction in the new millennia that I still am having trouble in locked in the wrong situation while people are dancing and skirting the issues. But it seems like air travel and air flight have become a real problem in North America that I don't see being discussed in the front correctly. But I see a whole lot of people winning, and my national security has been put at risk. Not only my national security, but my son's. Let's talk about one son, one Christ child that makes makes me a Lord as, since he is a Christ child, looks by expressed genetics the way that the 12th apostolic or the 12th day after Pentecost will stick in that realm for the moment. He looks congruent to what's in the front of the church with a crown on it, might I add. Not of thorns, but a crown. There was a bird, looked very eagle, I don't know, in the front of the church, which again goes back to INRI, although I was in an IHS situation. It's carved into the pulpit, so we'll stay at that for the moment, since I heard somebody on the news the other day mention something called a CHS I had never heard of. And so I'm in this situation, and then I turn on the television, and it goes from this Jets in this green and white silver color. It goes to they are renaming now streets in New York City. I have no idea how. They did not ask my permission. They did not ask me to vote on this. They do not submit paperwork to me. They're just renaming streets and whatever at will to their own people. And I'm like, Manhattan is one of the oldest cities. I mean, Rockefellers, Vanderbilts, which I know these people are not of that family bloodline. And then I'm thinking, okay, the Civil War was won and settled. I'm a little confused how some of these people are just taking it upon themselves to rename streets and sections of the city, to like totally take over Broadway and the schools. I mean, are there family members anywhere that know I'm locked in some airplane cargo bay situation while the flight crew is fighting with the passengers, and like there's some fisticuffs going on in the pilot territory of they got a locked door and I have no idea what's going on. I mean, like in like a parable, like analogous way. That's kind of like, I don't know how else to explain it. But I'm watching this and I'm like, this puts out, it's Alexander's national security is in jeopardy. Mine's been in jeopardy my entire life here, or my entire attempt to just survive. I don't know if anybody's noticed I was missing off of like the really like social aspect of the Astro kids in aeronautical. I mean, my birthday and the legend of my birth, there were humans who came to my bedside and to my person and announced that they knew how special I was and who I was to be. They knew before I did. So now this gets confusing in elections and in how things in Ministry of Defense and defense of one's own person and people are being handled. But here we are. So then they put on this last night. They had the spectacle event called VHS. No, not VHS. VMA. I don't watch them. So it's these entertainment kids now, still in, I mean, it's the football is now a problem. The music awards are now a problem. My every morning trying to catch the news is now being presented as a problem. And then on comes Johnny Depp in an astronaut suit, just like floating out there, because in VMA, and then they put an S after it, whatever that's supposed to be symbolic of, they give them these awards, and then it's like they keep rewarding themselves for putting my national security and the president's ancestry and the historic everything that embodies this North America. It's like, did anybody tell them that we settled the war, we have on the currency the faces of the children, we have Mount Rushmore, we do have defense somewhere in national. I'm just not quite sure where they hide or how they organize themselves or what they call themselves. However, I haven't seen much of them. So it gets really confusing, like, like in the what have they done? Does anybody see that all of these actions are in direct violation of my national security and my son's? I mean, church on the line. I know that they have no problem in tearing down the church. I've seen that my entire life. Until it comes to defense of their own person, they're like, no, I believe in God. Right, God-fearing. Right, that's how we like the people that inhabit North America. So this is how, hang on. So here we go. It's like giving the enemy a microphone, an unlimited bank account, and a dream to completely destroy and break all of the foundations of North America. That's what it looks like. When I look at what is in the Air Force at the moment, what has presented itself as the Navy. I've met one of each in they're not North American representatives. I don't know where they come from. And then it comes down to whose army is it? Well, there's the White House with the president, and he has very real armed needs to protect himself and the nation, supposedly, which we do call ourselves country. I'm in the sea, which is the 50, and it is 100-1 at the moment, it feels like. And then there's this. And what are my local New York NFL reps doing just so somebody who like can buck the system knows? Well, it looks like they're having a parade on my reign or my rainy day. And it looks like they think that they have me in their corner pocket to do and to parade or pronounce whatever they want. It's really frightening. I was here during Terror on the Airlines, where the same looking representatives from elsewhere in outside, but now they're inside and they're being thrown money, jewels, and treated well, way better than I am. And it is really frightening because my national security is on the line, and we are the ones who have inside the interior. This is home turf, home field for us. So I don't understand how these things are getting promoted and how they're getting, but it is a real, I mean, for lack of a better term, it looks like a shit show. I mean, I don't know. It's almost like it's out of control for broadcasting and all sorts of things. And then they're like, oh no, we've got a Paramount and we've got an ABC corporation that backs us. Really? Do you have names of those representatives? Because I'm pretty sure NSA wants to have a one-on-one with them.
Solids and stripes aside, Elijah Moore and Michael Carter are a dynamite pair, ready to take the NFL by storm as they rack them up for year 2.
I'd probably say it was a lesson. Just a lot of ups and downs. Dang, it's such a long season. Like, you had to really learn how to take care of your body. Learn how to. It's right. Right. I put it here, bro.
It probably really even wasn't just football. It was probably outside, probably handling people in the building, different personalities, gaining friends, know who you want to be around, who you want to learn from. But it was really a learning lesson, just like he said, man. The year 1 was chaotic at first, and as the year went on, you started to get a groove. So it was definitely a blessing for me.
How would you describe your relationship on the field with both of you guys?
You're my brother, man. And I don't got a lot of people that I can really say that about. I got my blood brothers. And then I got probably a few people in my life that's my brother.
He's just a funny, serious guy at the same time. But man, he really picks me up, man. It really does. If I'm practicing, I'm having a low day or something, I just look at.
Now, he has this 200 over here. I've seen it a couple of times for tattoo recognition.
He picks everybody
with
up.
wings on it.
I feel like we didn't really have Mike on the team.
Interesting.
We wouldn't have a personality as a team, so he's really a big piece of everything, so.
Oh, damn.
Now, here's the thing. I mean, this goes across. I saw today on Kelly and Ryan, on one of the other New York shows. They had on this girl that I have no idea what her name is. But she went to Harvard, and then in social studies with an African background. And I mean, and she's also on, big into, the Hollywood scene. I'm like, where are the boundaries? Because it used to be that the person sitting in that chair would be considered Bollywood. And that's it. They have to deal at Bollywood level. But now they're claiming they're in this Hollywood relationship. I mean, it's coming out as if it's Hollywood generated. Now, where is that war room? And how are they in situation rooms handling this disingenuous, I don't know. It's coming from every angle. Where's my national security being compromised? Well, I can see it on the sports field. I can see it in the educational institutions. I can see it in travel and leisure companies. I can see it on pretty much all of the brand marketing. Now I see it others being bussed in, and there's where's the committee for I do have a say in this. I mean, I am part of the ancestral management team here. I'm their carry forward. I have significant importance in this American historical story. But for some reason, I'm being quieted, and I don't even know if the other players on the field know just how I can't even my national security has been compromised so badly. I don't even have a way to raise my hand or a voice or to actively participate in my own civic duty, being that I have some title things I've been born into, although title's been an issue because I don't know where do you go to redeem it. And so like that becomes an issue. Now, this is what football looks like. And now here's where he makes the 8-ball in the corner pocket mention.
One of the reasons why it does. So, man, that's all our end goal, man. We come into the building, man. We come in the building to win. We won't come in there for no other reason. 8-ball corner pocket, man. Stop playing.
Now, symbolically, this has colors. Symbolically, this has jets. Symbolically, that's an Air Force or Air National Defense reference. It says one jet's drive. Then they put on that it's jet blue. No idea. I mean, like, I can only fathom Masonically how that's all intertangled together. But it seems that my national security in this country is still being mishandled by all of this corporate mergers, acquisitions, takeovers. Who are they sponsoring? Who are they lifting up? And how are they handling the future? The ratios are off in the levels of classifications and how people are living, behaving, and learning at. It is a socioeconomic disaster zone at the moment.
As the dog days of training camp roll on, the Jets.
So again, I'm not lifting them up in like exaltation. I'm just putting them on a record that this is a piece and a portion of a much larger problem. But it goes back to terror on the airlines error. And then it goes into, I don't know who made what agreements, but there is some serious power problems going on. And it feels like a betting sporting arena rather than a nationally secured area with airspace being secured as well as ground cover. There seems to be some insidious, I don't know what going on. But I'm feeling the effects, the ripple effects of it, and I don't even know where to hand raise properly. Now that was one Jets drive. That was Sunday, August 28th. Also Sunday today in New York. This is what those are the people that are now rich and wealthy because they're in sports leagues of, I don't know, no idea how that works. But they're using a market maker system, calendar system that's based off of astrological programming and formula that is directly tied into my situation. Again, just so we're clear, at Creation Goddess and at Lourdes of a Christ child.
Oh shit. Sometimes I'll say, I think Gibson is my great.
Now, this is in New York. They're celebrating some woman I've never heard of. I don't know how they put together this person's name. I don't know why they chose this person. I don't know why they're renaming streets to honor these people. I have no idea. It just seems like a really bad idea, because it is like all of the children that laid the groundwork that still have ground connection and lease. I don't know how these utility structures are being compromised, which goes back to world and global security, not just national.
And they're like, who's that?
Tennis and eventually golf took Althea Gibson all around the world, but ultimately it comes back to this street here in Harlem, 143rd Street, and that's why eventually.
So again, another person who is appreciated and honored more than my father and mother and myself and now my son, and now they're renaming streets of this person that actually tore down my national security, my son's national security, and my parents' national security. Why are they honoring these people? But it seems to be happening over and over and over again in these like small little scrapes that seem to go unacknowledged. And then like sometimes there's people even rooting for this crap.
Eventually.
I mean, I don't understand how people can root for the tearing down of the foundational structure that they reap benefits of in other ways.
We'll build a statue in her honor here. It won't be the first Althea Gibson statue. There's one in Queens outside the Billie Jean King National Tennis Center, and another in Newark. But Althea Gibson's real legacy is in the words of this 9-year-old tennis player.
Even now, sometimes when I go to my tournaments, I'm probably one out of two, or maybe the only black girl there.
Okay, these are flat out lies from every time they speak. There's some woman called Serena Williams who's all over the news, and she plays tennis, which is why I won't even watch it. It's absolutely disgusting. I have no interest whatsoever. But again, like, there are these like sports icons that are destroying the foundations of this country and the national security of what already won in Civil War, was granted management and for state purposes here, and has ties into other sections of important things. I'm really unclear how this movement keeps going on and actually being promoted as if it's an acceptable outcome. Now, here's them promote like rewarding themselves with music and songs and awards in some academy. Again, I have no idea how people choose and decide or invest in this ongoing endeavor of it's a real national security concern.
Live from New Jersey's Prudential Center. Of course, MTV is a division of our parent company, Paramount Global. Here's what went down.
I said, excuse me, you're a hell of a guy. I mean, never mind how you like Pelican Fun.
Nicki Minaj was not only a co-host of last night's VMAs, she won the Best Hip Hop.
And here, that's a small astronaut. That's a problem. At like Bill Nelson level at NASA, and like has a real hefty position of importance in the world, this is a problem. Because if this leads to some acceptance in whatever's going on in his control rooms, the original proprietorship of intellectual property is being bastardized over and over throughout multiple industries, and it is compromising health, safety, and welfare of the children. It just is. I see it every single where I go, and in my lifetime, it has been bastardized so badly, and the break happened so ferociously fast that now I don't even know, in like a rip current right before a tsunami, where the water just disappears and then all of a sudden the gigantic wall comes and you just have no chance. That's what it feels like for me and Alexander at the moment.
And was named 2022's Video Vanguard.
MTV, thank you for always being amazing to me.
But perhaps one of the most talked about moments came from someone who wasn't even there. Actor Johnny Depp appeared virtually, with his face superimposed on the iconic Moon Man, saying he, quote, needed the work.
I just want you guys to know that I'm available for birthdays, bar mitzvahs, bat mitzvahs.
Depp has been a mainstay of MTV awards shows over the years.
Oh, so now he, in some superstardom of movie guy, is available for bar mitzvahs, birthdays. He'll just show up at your house and do like whatever. Oh, that's interesting. I mean, like, again, it's like all this spoofing that goes on, but there's real serious stuff. And it feels like it's this sinkhole like they had in Star Wars at one point. And there was like one man, one route. And then there's just gigantic chasm.
With last night's appearance part of an image update since winning his defamation lawsuit. Lizzo took the high road after winning the Video for Good award, refusing to respond to her online haters.
They be like, Lizzo, why don't you clap back? Why don't you clap back? Because I'm winning.
Bad Bunny.
I don't even know what music that is. It sounds like some Middle Eastern sitar. I walk down the streets of Bayside, and right now, it was one thing when there were gin mills. It's what Lewis calls them. It was one thing to have brewery, gin mills, and public house places where in a non-prohibition state, they could get together and blow off steam. That's one thing. Now, there's actually like marijuana stations. There's a store that just opened up called a smoke shop. There's hookah bars, 2 of them, as if one wasn't enough. Now there's 2 on Bell Boulevard. And as I walk by this marijuana shop, all I hear is sitar music and this like goat herding yodel. And I'm not talking like the hills of Ireland. I'm talking like some faraway land that is really unpleasant to the ear. It's not North American, let's put it that way. So now it's like coming through, you walk by, I have to put earbuds in my ear just not to listen to it because it's not a language that I recognize. It's not an inflection I recognize. It does some, whatever this is, in like, what is that noise? Like, is that a language? Is that singing? And the instrument definitely sounds like something from guitar or sitar. I'm not quite sure. But it's a instrument of far, far and away that does not have permission on passport of the Big Five for migration into this area. So I'm a little confused why it's blasting in my North American homeland on the street. I don't know who gave them permission. And then on the other side of the street, there's 2 areas that only blast Spanish music. I'm like, where are the stoic? Where are the honor and valoric? I'm just curious. I mean, and where does one report these very real problems? It's star 1978, star 8378, Nicole Cattaruzza. It's Earth, solar system, Milky Way, universe, galaxy is broken. And it's Bayside Station, Bayside, New York, 11361. There is one other thing where something that's calling itself an Attorney General of Connecticut is welcoming in some, I don't know what nation they're from, into schools, and he looks very oriented elsewhere as well. Now, this is the reporter and something calling itself an attorney general.
A lot of energy here at Stanford High School as students head back for their first day of school. Now, students tell me, of course, they're sad to see summer break over, but they say they're ready to head back into the classroom. Saying bye to summer and hello to a new school year.
I'm very excited to see who are my classmates this year.
Students at Stanford High School in Connecticut return to school Monday morning.
My favorite part is making new friends, of course, getting to see my friends since I haven't seen them all summer, and just being able to come back to school, surrounded by other people.
There to greet them, the school principal, district superintendent, along with Attorney General William Tong and State Senator Pat Billy Miller, shaking hands and wishing students a great start to the year.
I think kids are excited to get back into school, especially after COVID the last 3 years. So actually, I'm really surprised at how upbeat people are. I remember when I was, 14, 15, 16, I didn't really love getting up in the morning, but these kids are ready to go.
Officials say it's especially...
Again, I don't see as many in the sports or the entertainment industry that are genetically similar. I see a lot of them going to school. I've heard a lot going to engineering, quiet fields in corporate, and very quiet fields. However, there's some market and monetary exchange that's been going on that is also very concerning in buying lobes. Like lobbyists, you mean like lobby of the ground floor to get in to speak to somebody? Right, then that would be the lobe, an ear lobe in order to bend someone's ear. It seems really frightening at national security. And knowing that I have 2 A's going that are after I am, and just how frightening the image that has been painted into my life frame and landscape is. And I don't have a handhold. I don't have somebody to speak to. It's like being locked in where the suitcases are while somebody else is rearranging the passenger manifesto, and they're not allowing me to get to a pilot or even a flight crew person that I need to be traveling with.